In today's video, we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Are we going to see a pump? Are we going to see a dump? Now, this applies to all crypto traders, this video. It doesn't matter if you're trading ETH, Cardano, Veracity. It doesn't matter if you're trading any other altcoins. You need to watch this video because whatever happens today at the FOMC, it's really going to dictate what happens with the whole crypto market overall. So it's going to be very, very interesting. The FOMC meeting, right, it starts at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you are in Europe, it could start anywhere between 5 to 8 p.m. depending where you are, or 7 p.m. Now, the Fed interest rate right now is supposed to be at 7 p.m. GMT time, which is Greenwich time. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. We're going to be having a look at a TA analysis. We're going to be having a look at some open interest and whatnot. We're going to be having a look at some tweets. We're going to be having a look at some of the notes that I shared right here that I do want to talk about in just a second. But first, before I get into that, is the Fed interest rate decision is supposed to be today, okay? And the forecast is predicting that it's supposed to be 4.75%, which is 0.25 basis points. Now, assuming this is higher than 0.25 basis points, let's have a look at some of the notes I took. If the FOMC is 0.25, then we could have actually a slight pump followed by a dump, right? That's assuming, now this is what history has been telling us, is literally every time Powell opens his mouth, that's it, boom, we dump, everything's, everyone gets excited, we pump, boom, everything gets destroyed. Now, if FOMC is 0.5%, the market will probably get destroyed, it will get wiped out, a lot of people will get liquidated, a lot of people will get destroyed. People aren't prepared for 0.5 basis points. That is very, very high. And if you guys can see right here on the forecast, a lot of people are, predicting a 4.75 forecast. So a lot of people are expecting nothing higher than 0.25. Now, if we see 0.5, that would be bad news bears, and we could actually in fact see Bitcoin coming back down to as low as the $15,000, maybe even $10,000. Now, assuming it's still 0.5 or 0.25, assuming Powell comes to speak and declares that this will be the last interest rate hike and there won't be any more interest rate hike, then that would be, of course, very, very good, not only for crypto, but for stocks as well. We know what history tells us. I mean, we know, every time we essentially enter a negative interest rate or we essentially start to decline in the interest rate, that's very, very good for crypto. I mean, we saw right here, that's when the bull market started in crypto, when we saw Bitcoin go from $3,000 all the way to $69,000. It was around this time right here. And then, of course, the bull market started right here. And the bear market started when the interest rate started going up, essentially. And the same thing happened right here. We were in an uptrend. And then the second in 2018, the interest rate were going up even harder and they were more aggressive. Bear market started, boom. And then, of course, the bull market starts again. So obviously, it's a whole cycle, guys. As you guys can see, nothing too crazy. Same thing for the stock market. We were in a massive bull market right here. Mortgage crisis happens, boom. Interest rate are at 5.5%, crazy dump, boom. This was a massive bear market, of course, in the mortgage and stock market crisis back in 28. And of course, once it came down to zero, that's when everything started popping again. The market had a nice little V recovery shape. Everything was beautiful. Everything was nice. Can we see this happening again right here? Very, very possible, but only if the Fed say that this will be the last hike. Because guess what, guys? If this is not the last hike, and assuming it's 0.5 basis points, that means there's more hike, that will happen. But the big question is the price already priced in? A lot of people will say the price is priced in. Bitcoin dumped. Everyone knows. There's an insider. They said that Bitcoin came all the way down, and it's priced in essentially. And we're not going to see any pump, any dump, any volatility. I disagree with that. Even though we've seen that the open interest has been negative 4.8%, negative 8% on CME, on OKED 0.7. So you guys get the idea. The open interest on futures has been negative, which is obviously, more to the short side, and that's about it. Now, I do want to have a look at a tweet right here that I pinned. I said, guys, people getting too high. Bitcoin will still reach 9 to 12K this year, maybe in March or April. That's not 100% sure, but assuming that there is a 0.5 interest rate hike, and assuming that Powell doesn't say anything about the future, he doesn't say this will be the last one, he doesn't say that he doesn't say anything good, we're most likely going to see $9,000 to $10,000 on Bitcoin, and this chart right here on the weekly time frame will just be invalid. So this is exactly what we're seeing right now on Bitcoin. If we have a look at the EMA ribbons, or not the regular EMA ribbons, the regular moving average that I do want to have a look at, we got rejected exactly at the 200 moving average on Bitcoin. Okay, so right here, this is Bitcoin on the 200 moving average, as you guys can see, and we are getting rejected exactly at this area. The question is Are we going to continue to the downside? Are we going to see that death cross happening? Because we have never seen the 50 moving average cross over the 200 moving average on the weekly time frame. Now, a lot of people say this is priced in already. It's delayed. Weekly moving averages are delayed. Yes, I agree. They're lagging indicators. It's delayed. I agree 100%. But that doesn't mean that we haven't seen it, right? I mean, we saw right here, this was the first time Bitcoin was ever below the 200 moving average, was right here. Bitcoin has never really closed below the 200 moving average ever. If we look back at history, we can see that Bitcoin has always rebounded above the 200 moving average. We saw this was a nice little V recovery shape, and then we never really truthfully closed below the 200 moving average on the weekly, and now we saw it multiple times. So can we see something like this happening to Bitcoin? Very, very possible, especially having a look on the stochastic RSI real quick. Let me remove that in just a second. Let me remove that. Let me remove that. Let me remove that. If we have a look at the stochastic RSI, we can see right here that Bitcoin on the stock RSI is actually oversold. Now, we know every time we are oversold, investors are going to be looking to sell. And every time we're overbought, investors are going to be looking to buy, right? So what happened right here? We had this nice little increase. We were oversold. Boom, oversold. Came down. The same thing happened again. Boom, oversold right here, came down. Had a nice little recovery, short consolidation at the top, oversold. Overbought, sorry, came down. The same thing is happening right now. Overbought, boom. What is the next move for Bitcoin? Bitcoin currently right now is overbought. We haven't been this overbought since this area right here. This was the peak of the bull market when Bitcoin was at $69,000. Very, very interesting. Look at that. Boom. Overbought. Guess what happened? Boom. Got destroyed. So can we see something like this happening? Yes. Now, rallies, what I was trying to tell a lot of people is that rallies and bear markets will happen the same we have, dumps or correction in a bull market. This will happen, guys. It's going to happen every now and then. And a lot of people need to understand that we're not out of the woods yet. And this is not a bull market yet. Now, I will be bullish once Bitcoin breaks above this level right here. This is a very, very important level sitting at 25,456. Why? Because one, we have a resistance right here. We had a crazy wick right here. So if we manage to break this level right here, then of course this level right here, 24,000, would essentially flip to a support. Right now, it's a very, very strong resistance. And of course, the second level that would make me uber bullish would breaking 32,145, even higher, than slightly higher. This area right here, 32,533. That would make me very, very bullish if we break and close above this region. So we still have a long ways to go, guys, before we essentially enter a bull market. We are not out of the woods. A lot of YouTubers and a lot of people on Twitter are calling that, this is it, the bull market's back. No, this is just a mini bull cycle, a mini bull rally inside a bear market. It's okay. We've seen it here. We saw it here. We saw it here. We've seen it a bunch of times, and now we're seeing it right here. So nothing really changed, guys. There's a lot of things and a lot of key factors that we're going to have to see before Bitcoin essentially becomes bullish again. One, interest rate are going to have to come down. Inflation is going to have to come down, even though Bitcoin's a hedge against inflation. So at the end of the day, honestly, if there is a hyperinflation, it won't really affect it that much. But Bitcoin will explode. But that's about it. And we're going to have to see the Dixie. Will the Dixie go up? Will the Dixie go down? The US dollar index is a very, very important key factor, because if it gets right now, the only reason why Bitcoin's pumping is because the Dixie is dumping. It has been dumping for the past 4 or 5 weeks. And therefore, we're seeing Bitcoin pump for the 4 or 5 weeks right here. So if we actually have a look at the Dixie before I end this video right here, we could see that the US dollar index, where are you? We could see right here that the US dollar index is currently sitting at boom. Okay, so this is the past few weeks, even more than a few weeks. So we could see right here that the US dollar index is currently sitting at 101. Now, this was, of course, when Bitcoin bottomed down, and that's about it. So guys, that is my short video on Bitcoin and interest rate. Be careful out there. Don't be over leveraged. And that's about it. If you guys like this video, of course, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video tomorrow.